County Finance Committee meeting, March 31st at 4 o'clock, 4:01, excuse me. And we're gonna start, anything other than just going over department head requests? Is there anyone that wants to go before anybody?
I'm just gonna, well, I'll do admin,
Okay.
and then we'll just go down the list. Mary is short-staffed today, so she's gonna try to come right at 5. She doesn't have anybody to cover the phones. Okay, so we're FY '23 budget. This is where the department heads put their requests in. It is not a balanced budget yet. This is just what the department heads have asked for. We're gonna go over their capital and their operating. We're gonna look at what has increased and decreased, and then any questions at the end. Of course, Jake, our funds are separated. We've got the general fund, which is supported by taxes and grant money and whatnot, and then you have your enterprise funds, which is your electric fund and your water and sewer, because they're self-supporting. There's a lot of things under the general fund, and Eric, you may be able to help with this one. So now going over the town council budget. Normally, you guys have only had 5,000, your council discretionary, but the past couple of years, you've been donating 5,000 to,
Keep it at 2,000.
so cut it, because I put it,
I
I
mean,
put it up to
if we're gonna use,
15.
if we already know those funds, those
Right.
monies that we're gonna use,
Mhm.
they need to be in the budget.
Correct.
They don't
We
need
had
to.
tried cut, I think originally we did have 15 in
I-
a few years
no.
ago, but,
2,500, cut it.
okay, so you want your donation money in a different line item?
I think it needs to be budgeted. I mean, it needs to, whatever it needs to be, it does not need to be in our discretionary.
Okay, so you, will create a different line, because I think
Don't
normally
you
that's
agree?
where we
I agree.
put. with
Because
you
at
guys.
some point, we can't just keep giving it all out. I mean, if that's the
Right,
case,
if it's
then
gonna be a reoccurring expense,
We
I
should
would
know.
like to create a GL
Correct.
line. But for
Agreed.
your one-time donations, they come out of that
Yes.
line. Like, I think you donated to Habitat for Humanity last year.
yeah. But I think we should keep that on the low side, so I
So
think
you would
2,500
like
is
your
plenty.
donation money in a separate line.
Agreed.
Okay.
With obviously, we know we've got what,
Well, I notated 5,000 to Juneteenth, 750 you normally do for the parade.
Parade.
5,000 went to that chamber fireworks donation. I don't know if that's a reoccurring, so I was like, if we're gonna do it every year, we'll put it somewhere.
Correct.
Was it defined as seed money when we did it the first time?
it was. And I believe it was still defined as seed money when they came back to us this year, which it's not considered seed money at that time. It's a, and it's a sponsorship.
Maybe we'll just do a sponsorship line,
Okay.
and we can discuss it further as long as we know what's
Yeah.
all in there. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good to me.
So you wanna cut discretionary to 2,500?
Correct. I don't think we should spend that much money, to be honest.
So town administration, you can see here some of the staffing changes from last year's budget docs. You guys have, I'm sure, been notified of all the changes. It's just from last year's budget, we had 13 employees in administration. This year we have 15. We have one part-time floater and then another position that was previously cut from the budget. So I just did a summary here of the increases. Department heads had put in, there's some steps and merit increases. Of course, we can go into that in more detail in the closed session or whatnot. But then we also had a BRS rate increase that's gonna affect us this fiscal year. So I showed you guys the difference in that. The town has to contribute a little bit more. They recalculate our rate every 3 years. I think it's based on our staff aging, who's up for retirement, different things like that. I think it's about 8.25% now, where we were more at a 5. Of course, we just talked about health insurance. That has gone up. The IT services and telephone expenses, I just wanted to reflect the increase from last year. I know last year we had budgeted for both of those items, but Jackie and I are seeing some of the expenses trending up, so I wanted to budget for that.
And is the IT service, is that through the blue,
Code Blue.
Code Blue?
But it only increased from last year, 9,500. I think we had budgeted enough in last year for it. Professional services, we only budgeted 20 grand last year, but on average, we're spending about 78 over the past 3 years. So I'd like to just budget accordingly.
What is-
And
What are we using that for typically?
professional service for administration is
Tessie.
your attorney fees, your, what else do we put in that? Sometimes B&B consultants, if it's not a designated project that has its own fund, goes in there. I can give you a complete detail
I
of
would
what's
like,
in that.
I hope, I don't know, I would like to see what a run-in
Sure.
county that is.
Would you
Is
like
the-
history reports? Would you like to
Yeah.
kind of see how it trended
Correct.
detail-wise?
And that 78,000, does that include the B&B where we, at the water,
No.
does not?
No.
That should have been in the water sewer fund.
Correct. So the only time it gets coded here, so sometimes they do, we have professional services in street as well. That's why I'd like to, I'll print you more detailed to tell you everything that's going in there.
And I'm sure not even a quarter of that, or not even a half of that should be attorney fees. I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think
So that's why I'm curious as what the others are.
Fifth of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's why I'm curious as
She's
what the
running
others
under
are.
$1,000 a month.
Yeah. So I'll get a detailed report for the expenses for FY '21 and '22, or what would you like full history or?
2 years is good, yeah, that's fine.
Oh, capital for administration. We hit on this last meeting, I do wanna upgrade the accounting system. I put in the full amount of it, the 125, but I have been told by various people that wanna bid on it that they will do terms, like a 3-year, you know, if we put 40 or 50 down first fiscal year, we could pay it.
You think any of this is eligible for, I know we've definitely done our ARPA money, but is there any COVID money out there? It has.
Now, if we get another allocation of it.
I mean, I'm all for it, we need to do it, I mean, this accounting system, I think would be a big thing for Blackstone, so.
It'll pay for itself.
Yeah.
It will. It'll pay for itself in time. It's gonna pay for itself to integrate with the procurement policy we're trying to do. It's really gonna streamline.
What's the life on a system like that?
It's really how
The
fast is,
existing one was put in 92.
how fast is technology advancing and how is their staff gonna adapt to it? And that, I think that's what had happened with our existing system. It was the bee's knees back in the day, but technology advanced and then they didn't keep up with it.
It's hard for me to imagine how much further it could go. I mean, you're saying it basically is an app and
Yes, but they
How
sound
much more
like
can you
they're
integrate?
gonna,
It
changes
they
every
can
day now
adapt
still,
to
so.
everything we put on the table.
Yeah.
I just really wanna get our wish list ironed down for our RFP. You know, I'd like to incorporate some cemetery portals in there, you know, to try to handle that inventory issue we've had. We wanna do it once and we wanna do it right, and it's a huge task to take on. We also have, Brittany would like to upgrade the camera system. I've got $6,000 in there for the camera system. We've got very dated cameras, and if she has to invest.
Security, you're talking.
Security, yes, and if she has to investigate a cash issue, it's really hard to zoom in, it's really hard to get good, date stamps on it, so we would like to upgrade that as well. And I also I have 2 computers that need replacing next year, and so I put that in on the line item. And we have to pay the 2,200, we have a lease on our server. So, that's about it
Alright.
for admin. Chief, the mouse will scroll, and then you can use it if you want to make something, but you can scroll through your thing.
High tech now.
You're gonna be the mouse controller for council meetings.
That's fine.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Alright, how are you?
Good. First, it's glad to be back.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just enjoying myself. Jennifer, thank you for taking care of the presentation and the budget. You've kind of highlighted everything that I wanted to talk about on screen number 1, actually. So the first thing you're going to see is I would like to request an additional police officer position. And I know you know we've talked about it a little bit. Philip and I have talked about it. And we've talked about it on a couple of levels. One, if we do pursue the animal control position, that would definitely help us to supplement the officer that would be doing the animal control. But even more along the same lines, but as important, we expect the growth in the community to go to increase. It is. Our calls over the last few years have gone up already in a 3-month period compared to the last 2 months. Just the population, the daily visits, the travel, I think it's gonna increase our calls. And I don't know if you know or not, but years ago, the emergency commitment orders and temporary detention orders for mental health investigations used to be handled a different way than they are now. Previously with Sheriff Parrish, we would do an emergency commitment order, which really is the easier of the two to do. It's not as lengthy. And then if there was a temporary detention order issued, the sheriff would assign a deputy to do it. And, that was the lengthier part of it. And it always has been the town's responsibility to do, but the sheriff decided to pitch in and help. But over the last 2 years, that whole burden has been placed on the town. So we do the whole process from emergency commitment order to temporary detention order, which we've had experiences where we were there for 5 days.
Lath has told me.
Has he?
Yeah.
Continuously for 5 days, 24 hours, and that's our responsibility, and we cannot.
So that keeps your officer that was on shift, he only got one, or possibly two.
Well,
that time.
most likely one.
Yeah.
So we try to bring someone in to either work the road to be 2, or to go up and sit with the mental health investigation, so we still keep 2 on the road. I think by adding an additional position, I think that will help us in several different ways. And I hope we could see the need for that. One of the things I want to talk about too on here is renewing the 2 dispatchers. I mean, technically, they're not dispatchers any longer, receptionists, clerical staff. I think they offer a great benefit to us. I like the fact that someone is in that building from 8 in the morning until midnight, and someone walks in, they can help. They still do things for officers. They answer the non-emergency phone. They do give the officers calls through that phone number. They also do filing. They enter summonses for officers. So there's still a lot of office work that they do. The only thing they don't do is dispatch with a radio. But I still would like you to consider retaining them throughout this budget and maybe talk about what the future holds for those 2. They're very interested in staying, and I'd like to keep them.
You know, we made it clear several budgets ago that they would be cut. Now, I would be, in my opinion, if anything, it's gonna be a part-time position. If it was something to help with filing and it'd be in the evenings when no one would be at that front desk.
The motion from council was that both positions would be eliminated as of July 1, 2022.
Correct.
We notified them 2 years ago.
The beginning of FY 23.
Yeah. But, I mean, we'll get into the weeds of that stuff.
Yes.
So just keep presenting.
Okay. Okay. Let's see, moving on. I don't see anything here. Like I said, Jennifer did a great job. These are the things that I really wanted to talk about. You'll see that I've asked for promoting 2 officers on the overnight shift. I thought we could start maybe with positions of corporals. That's included as, it would be about $3,000 per officer. I think that's important for the overnight, that we have direction and leadership. And the last page, I don't know if you have any questions on the box on the left, 8201, machinery and equipment. Of course, if we decide not to pursue animal control, then we wouldn't need to purchase the compartment for the truck. That certainly is up to you. There is money in the budget this year to replace our K-9 unit. That's something we still want to pursue and do.
Replace the high mileage vehicle. Philip, would that be the same type deal we do in 25-25 grant loan?
Likely would be.
Okay.
Can't assume it
But
completely.
they've been
but
giving
our
it out
expectation would
pretty
be
regularly.
55% of the purchase price would be off of that.
Okay.
And those are the important areas of our budget that we like you to consider and think about. Do you have any questions for me?
Go back to the 3-step increases and 2 promotions. So the steps, is that to get entry officers or officers that have been here?
That is for officers who have been here that are moving up, like say from 2 years to 3-year step.
Okay.
So we have a step process up to year 5.
And obviously they've performed well.
Yes, it's based on not just, it's it's merit-based as
Not
well.
just because they've been here, it's
Correct.
merit, okay.
Yes,
And then the 6,000 promotions, that would be the 2 corporals.
yes, on the overnight shift.
And that 6,000 would be put onto their hourly rate, or is that like a annual stipend?
I would think it would be on the salary,
We're
not
gonna
a
put it up.
stipend, I would
Okay.
think.
Yeah, I think it would be on the salary.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we could
Yeah, we could-
delegate and just say, all right, this is
Yeah.
just a one-time stipend. It's a
Right.
lot cleaner if it's,
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah,
And I'm reading, we already have the truck for the animal control department, is that correct?
yes.
Truck has been purchased.
we have it, we just have to reallocate it if it gets to that point.
It's in the water and sewer department.
Which then water and sewer would probably need a truck at that time.
So how does, I know that we're not really, the county hadn't settled on anything, but is this in preparation to plan for their upgrade to their animal shelter?
Lack thereof, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, we, years ago, we had our own animal control position, and it seemed to work out really well. It was pretty informal. Frank and,
Mr. Radcliffe.
yeah, Mr. Radcliffe and Baby Paulette, they used to work with each other really, really well. And if Baby wanted to go on vacation, Frank would cover calls for the county. And so it was a really good working relationship. Philip and I met with the county administrator and talked about doing the same thing now. And he wanted to do it a little more formally, which was fine. And so we're preparing for the possibility that maybe we would have an animal control to help not only the county, but mostly concentrate on our needs and the
We
ability.
have paid Tessie to write a
MOU.
MOU or, agreement, and Ted dismissed it. He said, I don't like it, and I'll rewrite it. And that was 3 months ago,
Yeah, probably so.
4 months ago, we haven't heard anything back.
And if we do go along with this position, I would like us to actually enforce some of the ordinances. I would hope this would be a position that we could,
There's more dogs running loose.
we've got,
everywhere.
well, not only that, but the amount of animals, domesticated animals you're allowed to have, the amount of chickens that are out. We were talking about enforcement.
There were chickens in Main Street the other night.
Oh, yeah,
There
they're
were 4
always,
chicken scratcher right there on Main Street.
so,
And that is, just so you know, that, the woman that fixed the Jesse Bull house, she's got
Okay.
chickens but they were loose. They were, and the ducks were freezing in the ditch. The ducks were in the.
so I would hope if we do proceed on with that, it would win me over a lot easier if we actually pursue with some enforcement of our ordinances that we have. If we're not gonna enforce them, we need to take them out.
I understand. And it's no secret, the officer that we're considering is Jason Robertson.
And he'd be perfect for it.
He would be. We talked about this years ago. He actually offered, he realized the need and said, look, if the town is interested, I'd be willing to do it.
When you look at the issue that happened in Crew yesterday,
I
or
was
the
just
day
thinking
before
about that,
yesterday. I mean, yeah, granted, they don't have a dog ordinance about how many you can have, which caused a lot of the problem there, but
Yeah.
I think it could help, so.
Oh, I think so too.
All right, if that's it,
Good.
thank you, sir.
Okay.
You got any
Very welcome.
questions?
Thank you.
No, I'm
All
good.
right.
Okay.
Chief Toma? Unless somebody else wants to go, I don't.
You're next.
We usually have a pretty cut and dry budget. Overall, a huge increase of negative 715,000. Yeah.
See that?
Decrease, not.
Yeah, I know.
You were
yeah.
supposed to proof it, so I printed it.
Some operating increases. Let me start first off by chief wages.
I did that. I can't remember who told me. I think you get like $100 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To show up to the meeting and write grants and,
So on that, the,
I can't remember. which one.
the chief has been compensated probably for decades.
Mhm.
And my understanding that this position's compensated so the fire chief falls under the umbrella of the town. So if something happens, I'm protected as a town employee. Since this pay has been initiated, the mayor will be kind to say I make more than him. My salary is $2,700 a year. His is $2,550, I think.
Well, you make more than us up here. We have to make the damn decisions and take the heat for it.
And this is the first time since then that this has ever been brought up to increase the pay for the fire chief. I will say that this role of fire chief is far exceeding the role of a volunteer at this
What's the
point.
justification of 125? I mean, if it's, what'd you say, 2,700 now?
2,700.
I mean, I would say just make it an even $3,000 and be done with it.
Methods, my madness,
Okay.
is it
It was the percentage.
bring up the conversation. You made a good point, you asked before, if he's considered a town employee, what about like the Christmas bonuses? Does he get just the standard volunteer? Or does
Which
he
we get what now?
50. Or ARPA, I got nothing. You know, it's, I'm an employee when it's good,
Correct.
and then I'm forgotten at other times. And out of that, you know, just a few examples. Last month, I had 2 days off a week. I spent 10 hours of my 2 days off in meetings as fire chief. Today I spent, since 2:30 till 7 o'clock today on my day off, I'm gonna be in meetings. This job is not a volunteer job no more. It's practically a part-time position.
I
And
think
I'm
that's where
fortunate
all
enough,
the fire service is gonna lean towards
I-
eventually.
the step has to start somewhere. And regretfully, or thankfully, I'm in a job where I'm able to work on fire department crap during my time at work. But it's 7 days a week, 24/7, just like council, that I guarantee you I'm doing something for this organization. I was up to 2 o'clock this morning doing a grant. Since I've been chief, we've increased our decal money from 29,000 to last year we got $52,000 of decal money. Our apparatus fund went from 25,000 to 45,000. So I'm bringing in more revenue to this organization, and I'd like to point out that my budget has gone down. I've increased money to offset my budget goes down. So this isn't just for me. This position in a year or two is not gonna be my position, cause I've lost way too much hair over this.
A year or two.
The town needs to really look at making this either into a position of true town, and compensated appropriately. I'm not trying to offset my job. I'm not gonna leave my full-time job for this by any means, but it can't continue, cause it's becoming a full-time
Well, I
job.
think there's gonna be a whole lot that we see starting in June or July this year. We'll start to see the true picture of what the town's gonna benefit from this Fast C project. We're gonna see a lot of these new projects come online, so we're gonna see our new water, sewer, electric. And I think after that, then, yeah, cause I can see the fire chief being a full-time position. But it's one of those things that I think we need to really see what this growth has coming for us before we make that big of a step.
Oh, I agree, but I think 5%, that's $4 a paycheck.
No.
Right, right, I get it, you get why I use 5%.
yeah.
I mean,
Right.
it's not an arbitrary number. It was-
No, I understand, but just, you know, if I was making 100,000, 5%'s great.
Yeah.
Rock on.
That's right.
It's a gallon of gas.
Right.
So, a step needs to be made. You could ask any of these ladies here. They email me, I get them a response. You know, I'm a day off, I'm gonna be up here jumping in. What's up? Do you need anything? What needs to be done? So, moving forward, the position needs to be accepted as a true. I don't.
Now, how do you see that those line officers underneath would depict? I think the ones we have now, you wouldn't have an issue. But do you ever see those looking down? That's something.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Just because they're like, oh, well, he's getting paid.
Right.
Okay.
But
But it gives them ambition to go for that
to
position
move
as
up,
well.
because this was kind of thrown in my lap.
Yeah.
It's gonna be thrown in my predecessor's lap, and if he's not able to commit the time and the effort on his full-time job, the department and the town's gonna suffer.
Correct.
So,
And Dion does help a lot with grants and drawdowns if I have issues. You know, we just met last week, cause the FEMA Go grant was all messy, so.
You said yours was cut and dry. You getting up here with all this?
it is, I'm just saying. I don't wanna make the mayor any more angry because I already make more money than him, but, you know, after taxes, I get $80 every 2 weeks for countless hours I get put into it. So I would really like you to evaluate the chief's wages, non-benefited, of course. Vehicle repairs and maintenance. Repairs and maintenance has always been an issue with us, and one of the things that really kind of hurts us is the town, benefit and painful. The town does our maintenance, but a lot of times that maintenance has to be sent out because they don't know a fire pump. They could change the oil, ta-da, that's, put an inspection sticker on it, but everything else normally needs to be sent off. The goal with this, NFPA 1911 says to work on a fire truck, you need to be certified to work on a fire truck. It's called an emergency vehicle technician. You have to be certified to work on. None of our town employees are EVTs. We fell under, Louisa put out a bid for emergency vehicle maintenance, and this is piggybacking off of their bid. It's between, it ranged from 8,000 to 14,000 for vehicle maintenance. This is, they take your apparatus, they do the oil change, they check all the electrical, they do the pump maintenance, they do the foam maintenance. They put an inspection sticker on it, check the electrical system. This is all our big apparatus, our engines, our brush truck, our tanker. Stuff that needs to have that preventive maintenance. Not, and preventive maintenance is more than an oil change. And we find issues with our foam pump because they get gunked up. Because we've had them for years, nothing's happened, maintenance-wise to them. So this will provide us the opportunity to have a preventive maintenance program, a true maintenance program, and take the burden off the town shop of having to not only worry about our apparatus, but the rest of the town vehicles. This would, the apparatus would, in this price is for them to take it to Atlantic, take it to whoever we decide to go with the bid, they do it, they bring it back, and it's done. We still have to do, it includes pump testing. The only thing we'll have to do is ladder and hose testing in addition, and SCBA on top of this.
And it's nothing we could compensate our employees to go get certified to do.
If you could keep somebody in the shop that wants to get EVT, it's a great opportunity.
EVT?
Yeah.
Emergency vehicle technician.
I don't know what's entailed about it.
I'll get
Yeah,
Mary
look
to
into it and just see.
I'll get Mary to look into it.
I mean, it could be something that's even sponsored somewhat by Department of Transit.
It sounds like it's something that's gonna save money on the trucks in the long run anyways.
Yeah.
Preventive
And
maintenance to not replace, I mean, I don't know how much a pump costs, but I'm guessing
And
it's.
we're finding, you know, we got a new engine coming, or gonna be placed in service, and we're pretty fortunate, we're getting 20+ years out of them, but, you know, we need to take care of them, and regretfully, the technology on this new equipment is nothing like what we're used to. It's all electronic, and
It's not old school stuff.
it's not old school, you put a grease gun on a valve and it works. It's a different ballgame now.
Alright.
Telephone expenses are associated with our upgrade to fiber, and that was done through CARES, the actual upgrade. Requesting to increase our training and education fund, I believe right now it's 5,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Do you see a big increase in our speed down there with that $5,500?
It's only, yes,
You're at 6,000 now.
we're at 30 megs or 30,
Yeah.
it's a lot of money for the fiber,
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting 30 meg?
yeah.
And who's the,
Chantel.
Chantel is the provider?
Chantel is the fiber provider, but then we get our phone service through Code Blue, cause we have the voice over IP now.
I live across the street and I get 150. Jeez. And they offered me a gig.
That's why we're doing an audit too. Maybe we'll have the results before budget's ready to adopt, and
Yeah.
maybe our trends will be lower if they have found additional charges, but going with the monthly trends, that's what we would need to budget. But like I said, I'm hoping we'll find some stuff, cause we crossed over, I'm hoping that maybe they charged us more speed than we're getting, or,
Something doesn't feel right there.
And I think it's because it's fiber.
Well, it was
Is
a new.
is fiber a requirement? Is there some kind of?
It is for the phones, because our other internet we got was not fast enough for the voice over IP. So all these new phones are all voice over IP. We got 3-4 quotes. I think his monthly cost is more expensive because when they install the fiber, they spread whatever other costs they had for running the fiber out over our contract period.
And,
So maybe the monthly cost will go down once those are.
and are we paying for 30 and that's what we're getting, or are we paying for a drastically higher number that should come with fiber? And then,
I don't memorize the
I
departments.
mean, I don't know if we're are they throttling us or is it just slow? That's what I'm
Yeah.
asking.
I know we're 30,
Okay.
and I'm
Yeah, I
pretty
know
sure.
we got the fastest speed we could here, because we had so many, but because he was volunteer, we didn't think he needed super fast, but we needed, Code Blue told us we had to go to fiber to get the new phones.
Because of the speed requirement?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way we can contact Code Blue and see what the speed requirement
Yeah,
is
and
and see if there's
can
an
you help
alternate?
with that? I don't know what I'm saying.
I can help
That's
with
why
that.
that's why we get the utility
Oh,
audit. Right, so,
Don't look back.
a lot of that, I mean, it's all foreign to me, I mean, I know what speeds are, and I know basics, but if they start talking in a, Code Blue does it
Well, that's a
all
good
the
thing for
time.
I can,
That's why I
I
don't
don't mind
understand.
helping with that.
Mhm.
You get it
They-
with Jennifer.
They
Yeah.
told us we had to switch to fiber, and I couldn't understand for the life of me, but it's cause the speeds here, we had the cable internet.
Yeah, I have cable and they offered me a gig this year.
I'll,
But anyway,
I'll
I
ask
can
them,
help
and
you
then
with
I'll tell you what they say, and you can try to interpret it for me.
Chief, then you got training and education, 3,000.
Yeah, bumping that up, increase. Currently at, what are we?
Training education's at 6,000.
6,000, requesting to go to 9. Everything's just costing more.
Yeah.
To get people, and regretfully, currently have a situation where somebody can't afford their gas in their personal vehicle to go to class, that we're gonna have to reimburse.
Yeah.
So we're just seeing an overall increase in that.
So is that, do you expect that entire increase to go to just evening out what we have, or do you expect any increased training with it? Or is there a split, or?
It's kind of a split. And I will say on top of this, we also have money that the county has. They give $10,000 to the association that we use for training as well. So we try and get money from the county before we use our budgetary funds for training. So the 6,000, we usually utilize all of that. No matter, we've always gone over, it looks like.
Yeah, I'll
And
look at FY '21, I don't know what happened,
Like the Chiefs conference is included in that, correct?
Yeah,
but y'all didn't go last year, right?
we didn't go in last year
Right,
because
so
of
that's
COVID.
why that expense is low for that year,
Yeah.
because y'all didn't go that year, but these are only actuals through December.
Through December.
And then your decrease in air card, that's what is in the units, correct?
Correct. So initially, when this came about, when I put in this budget line item, I was expecting to have to pay for Sprint or AT&T or something in each of the apparatus. But we never expanded all the way to each of the apparatus. So we only have 4 apparatus, and hopefully the county is going to be looking with their new radio system, their upgrade, to hopefully take over that piece as well. But it's just, we've always never expended this line. Might have spent $500 or so out of it. we're adding a new one onto the engine, so we're gonna have to add that into it this year. And also CAD expenses, I'll probably take out of that as well for the computer, mobile, computer dispatch terminal.
Alright, and then just for Jake's reference, obviously the decrease of $715,000 is mainly due in part to the engine cost was in.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I think all that was put on there was $5,000 for turnout gear. That's just due to the increased cost of it. I am getting promised a whole bunch of capital projects that are gonna be accomplished, but they are not budgeted. To include a new roof, that's gonna be a few $100,000.
Alright, hold on. I haven't heard about these, so. Alright, so a new roof?
Our
These are
roof-
what were in the comprehensive plan that I pointed out the other day, that there were some very costly expenses in there.
Our roof has a leak in it, so it
Mhm.
was gonna be $100 and some odd thousand to patch it.
Mhm.
Flex seal it. And I think double that to replace the roof. This is a,
Good God.
remember our
I think
building
the
is a.
electric
So is it-
department can put a new roof
Yeah,
on.
I'm sure they can. Our roof is a 2002. It's 20 years old. It's not a lifetime metal roof.
So you're saying you need two in?
Huh?
Are we replacing it, or are we?
Philip knows.
I can tell you what, if we're putting a Flex Seal on for $100,000, you might as well replace the whole dang thing.
Yeah, Philip reached out
Is
to
a
me.
hundred really Flex Seal?
Well, I know, I understand.
I'm like, somebody really bid
But we're
that?
not gonna patch it for $100,000 when a $200,000 fix will get you a brand new roof.
Correct.
And what
I mean,
all the capital were
It
you
ain't gonna
talking
cut
about?
What's the problem? Well, I mean, I know it's a leak, but
It's got screws that the washers,
they've degraded. They
Yeah.
tighten the screws too tight when they put the roof
well,
on.
it's just a design build, it's,
Well,
Andre will
better.
tell you. Yeah. It's a design build, it was built to be quick, easy, let's go, and we have a completed
You-
project, and not worth a crap.
When for the patch, are they talking about just replacing the screws, or are they talking about pulling the panels themselves?
We've
They-
replaced the screws.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, sometimes you can go to a bigger size with a new washer and
we've
then you
done
can
it.
do, oh, okay.
And the fear was they don't know which ones. They said they were gonna have to do everything.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much, they would have to replace every screw. Philip got quotes on it. The other thing was flooring. We discussed epoxy in the bay floor for safety issues because of people slipping and falling. I was told that was gonna be done this year, that's
It is very
$50,000. We also have an issue with our tiles in the administrative floor coming up, and that was also gonna be fixed this year as well.
Do you know where was that?
Nope,
None of that stuff like epoxy floors could have been done through ARPA
I
instead
didn't
of,
know about them.
instead of,
No, you're
no offense,
exactly right.
but voice over internet. I mean,
We did, I tried looking through the capital, and I think we had saw where, the police chief's AC HVAC unit was due to be replaced, in a few years, so we were trying to use the CARES money towards some of these future expenses. This wasn't brought to my attention to try to see if I could make it eligible for CARES.
Chief, we may need to take 5% off of you, Nan, since you didn't make this one.
it wasn't known,
Okay, so flooring, roof,
and
and
also,
tile, we're
yeah,
not sure.
not sure, and also on the capital was obviously our HVAC, just in preparation because it's a 2002 geothermal system. We have 3 geothermal systems there and 1 standard air conditioner unit in that building, so this is stuff that, I utilize capital improvement to ensure everybody's aware of our expenses, and capital really never gets put on the capital for us until it falls apart.
100% agree. 'Cause
We also were notified yesterday that we're not gonna have USDA funds, so we're short $1 million on a ladder truck.
do it.
So.
And I didn't even put the ladder truck in here because those figures keep
Ain't heard this.
changing, so, yeah, we-
USDA back said that they could only provide 55% of a loan grant, which will only give us $960 some odd thousand that we're eligible for.
In grant money?
But we're receiving,
920 from Spamberger,
uh,
30 to 40,000 from USDA instead of 500,000.
So it's almost like
We better
USDA
get one
took
of
the
them demo units
Spamberger
that's-
money and applied it to their grant total, is
I
that what?
emailed the mayor and Philip that if we want a demo unit, somebody's signing it Monday,
we better hurry up and do it.
How much is the demo unit?
1.7. In May, it's gonna be $100,000 increase for a demo unit.
Jennifer, get Philip on it.
Philip doesn't wanna do any action until council.
Well, council's talking about it. We'll take it to,
What do we wanna do? Do we wanna try to do a special call meeting? Cause you would need to know when.
I need to know
I think
Friday.
that's appropriate.
I mean, yeah, it's $100,000. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not gonna be able to meet tomorrow.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
Maybe get with Jennifer and see what we can
Yeah.
do about a special call.
There, this fire truck contract's being signed by Monday, what I've been told from a fire department in Ohio. It's gonna be out, done, if we don't.
I just don't get, I mean, we signed the documents. I mean, we voted to sign the documents with USDA,
Mhm.
but then they renege on it.
Supposedly there
Can they
wasn't
do
a
that?
resolution, a loan resolution. Philip probably knows more. Tara
Delaney.
kind of.
Yeah, she's gonna recap email
It's
this
Philip.
morning.
Yeah, can we circle back to that when he's back?
No, we're gonna get them.
Tara took me out of the loop.
Oh, she did?
Yeah. Well,
You want me to forward you what she sent? Why'd she take you out? We are recording. Leave my home.
I'm needed.
explain to us what's going on with the fire truck and why USDA is now.
I don't know why they're doing it, but we suspected it from the start. But they said they would give us $1.423 million of grant money. History, we applied for a $200,000 grant, we got it, with a $500,000 loan. The mayor took that $200,000 grant, went up to the county and said, give us a $200,000 contribution. And so we were up to 200 from the county, 500 loan, rough, round number, 500 loan, 200 grant from the USDA. Well, they called us back before Spamberger's thing ever got going and said, we found more money. We're gonna give you a $500,000 grant, a $500,000 loan, and your $200,000 from the county, because we had told them that we got it. Great. So we applied for and filled out the paperwork for Spamberger to give us an earmark, altogether a different program, $923,000. She came down last week and handed us a big check. At the last council meeting, if you remember, Tara Delaney had prepared a loan resolution showing a $500,000 loan, or $520,000 loan, and a $500,000 grant. In addition to the $923,000 that Spamberger did. Well, she called back yesterday and said, "Ooh, you don't get the 500, you only get the 923."
It's signed now.
Huh?
It's signed now.
Don't we have this in
They
writing?
ain't gonna honor it. Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem. They claim that everything has to pass through their standards, which is 55%, or we just said a police car 55%, based on our income levels and household income in the town of Blackstone. We qualify for a grant of 55% for our equipment purchases. It's not always that much, but we did pretty good with dump trucks. We got $75,000 on each dump truck for $158,000, so we're pretty close on certain things. On this particular matter, she said, no, we're gonna hold you to 55%, so you're gonna lose that $500,000 grant. Okay? Because 55% of a $1.744 million truck is like $959,000. Okay? So the end result is, she's saying it can't be done. I personally think, and that increases our loan amount to about $565,000 per Tara Delaney's, on a 1.7, but that doesn't outfit it, doesn't buy any radios, none of that stuff. What I do think, she also told me, she may have let the cat out of the bag, but she said, you guys are being held to a 55, but by our standards as well, none of these earmarks that have been given out in this district, except yours, qualifies as grants, because you're the only community with an income that's eligible for a grant. Amelia County got a $375,000 earmark, but they're not even eligible. Orange County, Culpeper County, Chesterfield County, Henrico County, Hanover County, they all got awards. And Tara Delaney, USDA says, I don't know how we're gonna tell the Congresswoman, but we can't give any of it. It's a shizzle show from the start, okay? One wasn't talking to the other, I don't know, but we were told $1.43 million in grant money. You guys voted on $500,000 of grant, and then Spanberger handed you the 9. So the end result is, if you proceed on, at best, it's a 1744 truck, if I'm using the correct number. 55% of that, I think, was 954,000. So it's a little bit more than what she can handle. It's like 30-some thousand more. 200,000 from the county, with a difference of 564,000 based on Tara's emails to me this morning.
And how
Do
much
I
was
think-
it from Spanberger? 900?
923.
923. I mean, what do you think we should do? I mean, because I don't think it's something that we should just sit on and wait.
We gotta call a special council meeting, but that can't happen until Monday or Tuesday.
Well, I mean,
because-
that's what we just told the chief, if we're not gonna get that money, we're gonna jump on a cheaper truck.
I've
And
got
the longer we wait,
I've got to follow your lead on it, but what we thought $500,000 was a home run. Tara Delaney was like, that's the most money we've ever given anybody. And then Spanberger's on top, he's like, it's just unheard of. It's never happened before. I've been here 30 years, I've never seen this. And then she came back and said, no, our 500's out. You're only eligible for 55% of the purchase of the truck. And this particular stock truck is 1.7. I'm sorry. This stock truck that's coming off the line where 1744, and
what'd you say the demo would be? If
That's the.
it is the demo.
that is the demo, okay.
The one that we were looking, remember if you look at those numbers before, it was $1,943,000, what we discussed, okay? That was outfitted, I was buying the radios and the air bottles and everything for the truck. Hoses, ladders, anything that needed to go on the truck was in that 1.9. And we were, if everything had worked out, ultimately gonna finance about 300,000.
Yeah, which is a steal. And that's why it was so touted that we got that Spanberger money.
They called yesterday and said, oh, please don't buy that truck. We gotta get this straight.
Tell them we've already bought it, it doesn't matter.
I'll tell them anything you tell me.
I mean,
It's
I think it deserves a meeting, yes.
It's HGAC contracted, which complied with USDA's purchasing. Everything was done through appropriately, but the money got dropped, and I understand the resolution for the loan wasn't done because that doesn't happen until.
No, we did the loan resolution
Okay.
for 500,000 grant and 520 loan. That was adopted last council meeting.
I
And
watched
she
Billy
prepared
signed it, yeah.
She prepared the thing. So she was under the impression you were getting both the 500 and the 900 and something. So at the end of the day, I think ultimately before any of this came up with Spanberger, you were planning on borrowing 520,000. Or we were working on a number with 520,000. If you proceed on with this particular truck, I think you're taking on another $44,000.
You're still borrowing the same
Debt
amount,
obligation.
A year?
pretty much.
No, then total. And I would anticipate, I don't know that to be fact, but you looked up the interest rates were about 2.1% on the last deal. So let's say they're 2.1% again, and I expect a 10-year at least.
I mean, at my push, May 1st, it's going up 7%. Guaranteed. They screwed up one time by,
1.7 truck?
yes, it's gonna go up 7% in price. This truck rolls off will be delivered April of 2023. So we have a year. If we do not get this truck, the next truck is gonna be September, October of 2023, if not later.
23 or 24?
23.
I'm not worried about the lead time. The lead time's gonna be the lead time. It's the price
The
inflation.
price is,
I mean, yes, we need the ladder truck, but
you're looking at 100,000 plus.
it's gonna be a year lead time no matter what it sounds like.
Right.
But it's the price tag that, I mean, you're looking at 7% increase. It's a large amount.
And that's on paper, so I mean, that's, the cost of steel, he told me, normally is $18,000, $19,000 a truck for the steel, markup, this is 90 some odd thousand dollars markup just for steel itself that they're having to add to the truck.
In my heart of hearts, I believe Spanberger's gonna have a meltdown when she finds out about this stuff.
Well, how do we make her know of it?
I let her know last night.
Did you?
There are secret ways to notify.
I mean, I still don't think we should drop the ball. We need to do something
I
to
do
be
think.
proactive until
Well,
then.
Ultimately, I think she's gonna find out that USDA is telling these communities, she handed you a check, but it's no good. And I don't think Spanberger's gonna stand for that. Because it's not just Spanberger, it's every congressman in the United States.
Yeah.
It's been given
Oh, yeah, I mean, we
earmarks.
keep saying that it's Spamberg money. It's the Congress. I mean, it's,
So every congressman who's gotten these things for communities that are not eligible by USDA rural development standards, they're gonna tell every congressman that that doesn't work.
So you're
Rules are gonna,
anticipating
I
a big
think,
course
ultimately
correction.
get waived, but there's a risk if you make that assumption. I don't think these Congress folks are gonna stand by and let them bureaucrats make them look stupid.
And, I mean, I agree 100%, and I think we're gonna get a ladder truck, but are we gonna wait until decision gets made, or are we gonna be above the 8 ball, because regardless, we're getting a ladder truck?
I think we continue with what we've already got. We signed the document. I mean, it's, in my opinion, it was done.
I think you get a risk if you proceed on
Well,
without
no matter
knowing
what, you're gonna
anything.
have to pay for it.
But in reality, the risk is $40,000 extra from what we were talking about 6 months ago, before Spanberger and these earmarks even came in the picture.
Yeah, but it's gonna be 100,000 more in one more month.
However, I don't think you're gonna get an answer by Monday. I don't know, you told me in an email today that they were gonna sign a contract Monday. You guys don't have enough public notice time to even hold the public.
Yeah, but in my opinion though, and Jake, correct me if I'm wrong, we agreed at the last council meeting to proceed on with this purchase.
I don't think you voted on it, but you're taking on more debt than what was planned. I don't think two of y'all can do that. I think you need
No.
the whole board together.
40,000 more.
It really isn't a huge amount more loan, but remember too, we were talking about a $1.2 million truck at the time.
Yeah.
That Ray Arms had found some stripped down thing or
Right.
something he was talking about.
So just to recap, we got the timeline of May 1st for a 7% increase in steel, right? Is
Correct.
that correct? And our timeline for Monday is a demo unit that's somebody else is bidding on?
Correct.
And what's the price of the demo unit? Is that 1.7?
1744.
1744, and if we don't get the demo unit, that goes to
7% at least.
7%.
so 7% as of May. If we sign something, is it possible to sign anything before May, before the increase that's not that demo unit?
So
It would just increase the length.
correct, it
delivery
becomes
time.
a custom build at that point,
Mm-hmm.
which increases the length to usually a 2+ year build. Because the apparatus we're looking at is on the slate for production.
I gotcha.
So they're already buying the axles and so forth for it, because it's
It's already
gonna hit the
planned.
it's gonna go onto the production.
So
line.
our lead time for the demo unit is,
So this one would be April of 2023 at the earliest.
2023.
The next one on the line is shooting September, October of 2023. As I said, not a time issue, it's still gonna work with my retirement. But it's the 7%, another $100,000, over 100,000.
But if
Yeah.
we can get a resolution before May 1st, then the only con is the time, correct? Am I understanding this problem correctly?
I would have to check with the sales rep on that other truck that's in September window.
Okay.
Cause the sales rep wants to know Monday, right?
He's
For
sent
the
me a
one-
pic-
Would he wait
For
any
the demo
longer?
unit.
Cause I just don't think Jennifer can get her call sheet signed.
No,
and
well,
done.
I agree.
It's not gonna
No,
happen.
but I think it's a first come, first
I don't
served.
think it needs to wait till the April council meeting though.
I would assume that even
Correct?
going for the second
Correct.
truck, the September truck, that we would still need to have some kind of meeting to
We do.
just lock that in, even if we let go of the demo truck.
And I could walk out of here and call him and say, what's the chances of this one? Has anyone already put their name on it? If they did, we're out of that loop.
Okay.
We're gonna lose that anyways. But ultimately, we're looking at $40,000 difference.
Either way, Blackstone got shit on again. Sorry.
You're recording. So,
So reach out,
Maybe we can hope for some course correction.
yeah, reach out to Jennifer Daniel and see what we can do. And then hopefully, you reached out to Spamberger, maybe we could hear something.
yeah, and they didn't, Spamberger's office wasn't aware of this, so they were gonna research today as well.
Okay.
And I think if the money came into two different pots, it wouldn't be one issue. But because USDA is facilitating the loan, they're following USDA guidelines, which is the 55%.
Alright.
But if they're following USDA guidelines, nobody else is eligible to get a grant,
That out of the,
except the town of Blackstone in her district.
in the town county, or
They gave out-
10 counties,
They gave out 9 other awards other than Blackstone.
so it needs to be on capital, or
Yeah.
budgeted.
What y'all decide to do, I apologize, I'm trying to.
She's gonna give it Jennifer to have a meeting.
Well, like you said, we didn't have enough, she'd have to get her call sheet signed,
You
Monday
don't have
wouldn't
time, but
happen.
having that
But,
Monday.
she's gonna see how fast you could get one together.
Oh, yeah,
call
that-
sheet.
probably Wednesday, Tuesday.
I work,
I think it's like 4 days
I
notice.
work
or
Wednesday,
4 days
Thursday,
public
I
notice.
could do Tuesday,
And before,
for business
Chief
days,
leaves.
right?
because I'm sure the other department heads want to get along, explain to us the roof. You've gotten quotes for the roof at the fire department. What are you seeing quotes to replace, repair, what?
Replacement was $168,000. We had the guy from Craftsman Roofing go up there and look at it, he said, just 25,000 screws up there, I don't know which one's leaking.
Repair was 120.
Huh?
Repair was.
No, the new roof was 168,
168 to
and
replace it.
then less than that for,
Was that a local contractor or?
the same guy that got the bid to do the library and the medical center. Craftsman Roofing in Lynchburg.
And it's,
Well,
was
talking
done,
Capital very quickly, we gotta make a decision on what we wanna do in the roof, and I'll make a recommendation to you in the budget side of it. But I'm also gonna ask you guys in the budget process, capital-wise, to put some, textured flooring in the bays. I think Todd Britton will make, kill himself, and I about killed myself one day in there, it's really slick, the floors are crazy slick, and, I don't have a price on it, but I anticipate it to be about $50,000. And that's painting with an epoxy paint using some kind of a grit or a textured additive to the paint.
You said you were saving us money this budget. Sounds like you're costing us quite a bit
This has
now.
been in my capital improvement plan for years. Somebody almost fell and it got pushed up a little bit quicker.
I got busting my ass.
During the storm
I
last
come
year.
tearing through there and man, I was sliding on one foot. And it is slick and it's dangerous, and Todd Pridgeon, I think, damn near ended up in the hospital.
Yeah.
Alright, what else you got? So you got an increase to the fire turnout gear of 5,000.
How many do you replace each year?
So we shoot for 5 sets.
And 20 wasn't doing 5 anymore, so
Right.
you would ask for 25 a couple years.
A couple years ago.
So you've only been to get 4?
Yeah. And turnout gear has all of it has a 10-year life expectancy, so after a 10-year mark, it has to come be decommissioned. And that, we try to keep our true interior firefighters and the newer gear and hand down their gear to the non-interiors, because some people just don't do interior firefighting.
Alright, you got anything else? Yes, we're trying to
If
get
it's
you,
that.
because you've been depressing as hell. And I'm gonna get on Andre because he's the one that built that building, so that building is costing us some money now.
Dan, you wanna do your
And
roof?
I understand how a roof put in 2002 doesn't have more than,
You still want-
And
Yeah,
this,
the roofer did say, warranty-wise, it's at the limits of its warranty, I mean, the expectation of.
Yeah, but 20 years, you have to, I mean.
20 years for a metal roof, that's,
and I think when it was built, they put the snowbirds on it. Those all got ripped off because it was just,
It's just all plastic snowbirds. I remember
yeah,
those things.
it was just.
Not to put those on there, cause that was on board the warranty. Of course, it was done.
They ended
Ah.
up clogging all the gutters too, making a hell of a mess.
Yeah.
We don't have snowbirds over there.
And we also talked about the interior floors, that the tile.
The tile floors, I may have to pick one or the other this year and then do the next one next year.
And
But there is some
you're well
warranty
aware
for
of the
front door.
condition of the tile floors in there.
Alright. Thanks, chief. Dan?
I don't get money left over.
It's gone.
No, you gotta pay for it all.
You see the crap, yeah, your electric department gotta pay for it, hold on.